All right, so now I'm going to show you how to edit the HD camera layer. That is the camera that's connected to the computer, and how you can make the green screen effect show up. So on the news scene under source, you would double click on the HD cam green screen. Now, first of all, I just want to show you, that's this one right here. I have, as you can see, Toad sitting on the chair. I don't really like how the chair's up really high, but like this shows you how you can pick it up around and move it. But I'm going to lower it just a little bit, make Toad a little bit bigger, even though Toad is not our newscaster, but I'm using this because there's no students here today. It's Wednesday, and Toad's all I got. So to edit the way that that looks, if you, no, you don't double click on the HD cam filter, you right click on it. You go to filters. Where you have filters, there are two filters already there for you. The most important one is chroma key. Chroma key means the green that's being colored out. So I'm going to double click on that and show you how this is set up. So color green screen type, I have it on green right now. We don't want to change that because then it leaves that green there. It looks awful. So you can change around the similarity, smoothness, just kind of play around with those a little bit. The lighting makes a difference too. So the way that the lights are pointed down, but those pretty much shouldn't need to be moved. Color spill is just kind of making it a little bit black and white. Contrast, brightness. Listen, if you ever get so messed up with it from just sliding those around a little bit, just go back to defaults. Defaults is usually a pretty safe bet on how to keep that. Then if you go over to the color correction, this is where you can kind of brighten things up a little bit, kind of adjust the saturation. You don't want to make it look like your newscaster just got back from the beach though and overly saturate him, because that looks just disgusting. So again, I'm going to go back to defaults. That's a pretty safe bet to keep it at. Close that. Yeah, that's how you edit that around. If I like to keep that layer locked so that we don't accidentally pick it up and move it around, but be very careful that you don't delete it, because if you delete it, it's a little bit tricky to add back in. I think to add it back in, you just go to add, and then we would do maybe video capture device. Yeah, that's it. And then again, I call it like HD camera. I'm just going to call this Canon camera right now. It's the same thing. Hit OK, and then you choose what device you have. So that camera is connected to the iMac, to the computer you're using, through an HDMI cable. So when you click on that, it's probably going to say UHD captured. There it is. There's Toad. Hitting OK there. So again, when you add it back in, it's going to look kind of weird like this. And what you would have to do is just go back into those steps by right-clicking, adding a filter, adding a chroma key filter. I'm just going to call it chroma key, which means green screen. That's the defaults. I'd say that's pretty good. Oh gosh, now we have double Toads, which is pretty sweet. Double Toads. Yeah, you can do that. Just kind of like play around with that a little. I'm going to delete that because we don't need it. Something you could do. Now, I'm not in the green room right now, so this isn't going to really work. I'm actually remoted in from my laptop. The green room's out that way. But you could maybe add another video capture device. I'm going to call this webcam. And that would be the person who's sitting behind the computer doing the control stuff. So I'm going to change that device to FaceTime, which is like the webcam. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Let's see. Yes. So if somebody was sitting there, that would be them. And then you can, again, do that green screen effect by right-clicking on it, adding a filter, doing chroma key. Yes. There it is. And it just keyed out the greens. And then we've got a second news anchor there. Yeah, I think there's a way that you can crop that out. If you hold down Shift and Option with your keyboard on the Mac, and then you're holding those two keys down and you do this, that's how you could set up two news anchors, kind of, and then maybe drop them down with this. So if I was sitting in the green room at the time, then I'd be showing up there. Let me move this guy around. So even though it looks like these two people are beside each other, they're not. And that's what's kind of cool about OBS, because you can get different cameras set up. So this is in front of the camera, and this is behind the camera. I'm going to go back to the green room just to show you guys. You're not going to hear me, though, because I'm recording off of this microphone. Of course, I'm going to go put on my mask and hope that I don't get interrupted. But yeah, you'll see me in just a second. You'll see nothing here, but you'll see something there. All right, I'm back. So you can see how that works. It got really dark over there because I turned off the light in the green room. But I just wanted to show you how you could add different cameras on there and make it look like two people are actually sitting next to each other, but they're not. So that's something we might play with a little bit later in the year. The one thing I noticed, though, is the way that the spotlight from the ceiling was shining on Toad. They look a lot darker, more saturated. The person who's behind the iMac and actually like sitting there doing the controls looks like they have a washed out skin tone. So that could probably be adjusted through going into the webcam and applying a color correction filter, which is it's not there. But if you go into that, you could saturate it a little bit more, play around with that. As you can see, it's dark in the room right now. I turned off the light, not thinking, but that's something that you can do in OBS. So cool stuff. Do a little bit of exploring and have fun with that, but don't mess things up too much because we got those in place there for a reason. Everything looks pretty good.